Finally, brethren, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is of good repute, if there is any excellence, if anything worthy of praise, dwell on these things. Now, from Romans 12, the first post we're going to put in is, it's got to be good. The next one, it's got to be acceptable. The next one, perfect. Doesn't contradict God's will in any shape, form, or fashion. Then we're going to go over to Philippians. It is true. Do you realize, I was walking through Walmart the other day and realized that if they left in this store only the food that's good for you, there'd only be like 10% of the food left. If you did that with news today, with what's being taught in ethics in schools and everything else, I would say we'd be down somewhere around 2%. But we're going to dig a post hole and we're going to stick a post in it called truth. And then whatever's honorable will be the next post. And then whatever is right according to the way God sees it's right, means it's conformed to God's standard. Whatever is pure, whatever is lovely. You know, an immoral culture will always, in an immoral culture, it will always take a knife and stick it right through the heart of beauty. There's nothing lovely left. It's just grotesque and dark and gothic. But we're going to stick a post called lovely. Whatever is of good report, whatever is excellent, whatever is worthy of praise. We're going to stick all those posts around us and we're going to say, I have just made a big step in discerning what God's will is for my life. Do you see that? If it's not good, I don't need to be around it. If it's not acceptable to Him, I don't need to be around it. And it doesn't need to come around me. That's why I built the fence. If it contradicts God's law in any place, I don't need to be around it. But now, is it true? If it's not true, I don't need to hear it. If it's not honorable, not just neutral, but actually honorable, right, pure. Oh, my dear friend, I'd love to write a book on the beauty of purity, the attractiveness of purity. You say, well, I've blown that. No, you haven't. Not while Christ is still seated on the throne, and not while the blood still has its power. Remember what I said? New every morning, new every morning, new every morning. Whatever's pure, whatever's lovely, lovely. Whatever's of good report, whatever is excellent, whatever's worthy of praise, on these things dwell. Now look what you've got. That fence we've built around us, that's going to filter out a lot of things that are going to keep you from growing. It's going to filter out a lot of things that are going to hurt you. And as you read the Word of God, these things that we have mentioned will become more attractive to you. And you'll realize that many of the things in your life were not just neutral, but base. Base. You see. Now, one last thing. If you're spending about 0 time every day reading the Word, and about 0 time in prayer every day reading the Word, I don't want you to read the Word tomorrow an hour, or pray for an hour, or do a night watch all through the night and not sleep. It's like we always want to go from 0 to 60, don't we? And we end up falling back. I want you to go on. I want you to be a person given over to the spiritual disciplines, but I want you to begin with small steps. Start, if you've not read through the Bible, start reading, start reading in Matthew. Read through the New Testament. Read 1 chapter of Matthew, 1 chapter of Psalms. Work your way through the New Testament. Just sit down with a cup of coffee, enjoy yourself, whatever, cup of tea, whatever, and just sit there in the morning and read through it and feed on it. And if you don't understand everything, that's okay. I don't understand everything. But my problem is not what I don't understand. It's what I do understand and don't do. And I could recommend also a very good study Bible that would be very helpful, would be the ESV Study Bible. Another, the Reformation Heritage Study Bible, the MacArthur Study Bible. Why a study Bible? Because I don't want to have to get up because I don't know where that certain city is or what it's even talking about and run over to a commentary somewhere and then come back. I just want to read. This isn't my study time necessarily. I'm just reading through the Scriptures to hear what God has said in the Scriptures, to enjoy God, to feed, to eat. And then pray. Pray. You say, I don't know how to pray. Well, then we'll have to go through the Lord's Prayer, because there's how you learn how to pray. Not by repeating it, but by understanding it. It's the model prayer, and it shows us how to pray. This is what you need. You need what I'm telling you more than you need this sermon. And I'm not saying you don't need a sermon, but I want to tell you something. People are starving to death because even in good churches, they're only eating once a week. You have to eat every day. And that brings me to another illustration that will extend my preaching time, but it'll be worth it. And this is it. Listen to me. Sometimes you can look around and you see things that are physical realities, and you wonder, why did God do it that way? And almost every time I've sat down and thought about it, there's a spiritual application. I mean, to everything. And if I don't see it, usually I'll come across it someday in reading the Puritans or something. But here's something. Let's say that tomorrow I'm going to leave for Europe and I'm going to just be preaching day and night for 4 weeks. Tomorrow. Okay? But I have to eat a very healthy diet now because of my heart and everything. And so here's what I've decided. I told Chado yesterday, are you going to the store? Yes. Well, I need this food. That's a lot of food you need. Well, I need it. So she buys it. So after I get done here preaching, I'm going to go home, and my plane leaves at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. So I have almost 24 hours. I'm going to eat for 24 solid hours. That way, I won't have to eat for 2 weeks, and I don't have to worry about having some specific food delivered to me while I'm preaching. Does that sound like a good idea? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Well, first of all, I'm going to get really, really sick. I'm also never going to want to eat again. After eating for 24 hours, I'm never going to want to see a piece of broccoli again. And if I can't accomplish that, at least within 2 days, what's going to happen? I'm going to be hungry again, and I'm going to be weak again, right? Now, what do we learn from that? It's the same way. You come in here, and Brother Anthony or Brother Luke, Brother Tucker, they've preached. You think you've taken notes, you've fed, that's good. I'm sorry, that's not good enough. You have to eat every day. You have to eat several times a day. Some of you should probably back off on the several. But you have to eat consistently. It's the same way. I would rather have you in the Word of God for 20 minutes, but reading systematically, reading from Matthew to Revelation, or from Genesis to Revelation, or reading through the book of Psalms, or reading through Proverbs, according to the need. Reading, meditating, thinking about what you're reading, asking people questions. You don't understand something? Look in the study Bible. If it's not in the study Bible, come to one of the pastors, someone who studies the Scriptures. Spend time in prayer. You say, well, I do pray. Well, let me ask you a question. And this, again, is very important. When you pray, is it just intercession? And I got several sermons on that, because this is important. Intercession is only one thing. Hard work. If my prayer life was just intercession, I wouldn't last very long. See, that's where most people get it wrong. You get it so terribly wrong. You get down on your knees and it's interceding. It's interceding either for yourself, or it's interceding for your family, or it's interceding for Malaysia, or it's interceding for what's going on in our country. Intercession. Intercession is nothing but hard work, and it is not fun. It is a fight. It is a battle. It is hard. It is sweat, blood, and tears. It is grabbing a hold of the horns of the altar. I will not let you go. This must be changed. If that's all your prayer life is, your prayer life won't last very long. Prayer is primarily, first of all, communion with God, delighting in God, talking to God. That's why my favorite, if it's not intercession, my favorite way of praying is seated at a table, or my best favorite way, just walking. Walking and talking to God. Enjoying God. I mean, just God, I am so tired. Or God, I'm scared. Or God, that's the funniest looking animal I've ever seen. Why did you make an animal like that? It is literally enjoying God. It is loving God. It is being loved by God. It's talking to God. It's walking with God. It's communion. And out of that, out of reading the Word to feed, and out of praying for communion and fellowship and intimacy, comes forth the ministry of studying to preach. The ministry of what? Intercession. The ministry of counsel and of care and of evangelism. It flows out of that.